Both Cardano and vechain have been having a relatively quiet period recently while the rest of the cryptocurrency market pumps. However, are we about to see big moves for both Cardano and vechain? In today's episode, we're going to look at some chart analysis for Cardano and vechain to see exactly where I think they're going to move in the next coming days. Guys, hello and welcome to the House of Crypto. I make videos about Cardano, vechain, Ethereum and all the major cryptocurrencies. So if you're new to the channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of that time-sensitive information as it happens. Also, please hit that like button as it helps the YouTube algorithm deliver this content to more people, and then more people can learn about Cardano and vechain, which is obviously great for us as Cardano and vechain holders. So first of all, coming over to ADA, and we see this consolidation pattern that's been happening now since back in sort of February 21st. Obviously, we saw this big pump up to all-time highs around 1.47 before coming back down and then retesting up at this level once more. Now, what is significant about this pattern here? Now, this is a symmetrical triangle pattern which we see happening for Cardano at the moment, and we see, we have the high, we put in a bounce, and although in Cardano we actually broke all the way up here, that was more of a sort of a fake out. We broke back down and then we continue to consolidate towards this point. But now what must happen is we must come towards a decision point. And if we come back towards the Cardano chart, we can see exactly this pattern unfolding here. And we've consolidated further into this period here. Now, significantly, what I've been mentioning in the previous videos on Ethereum is this weekend being obviously Easter weekend. And in China, etc., being a festival as well. So obviously there's been low trading volume, which has accounted for sort of slower moves than perhaps we're used to in this sort of slightly more volatile asset. Now, actually, what we were likely to see, as we sort of come up towards the end of this triangle point is we will have to make a move either to the upside or the downside. Now, in my opinion, obviously the trend generally is moving up, so this will tend to break to the upside. Obviously, disclaimer, it can always break to the downside in this current situation, okay? So what we're looking for to confirm that we're going to break to the upside is for a breakout from this point, and probably going to have a retest before moving up towards here. Now, to look at an example of where that's happened very recently, where we've actually got this pattern and then followed by this larger ascending triangle pattern, I want to bring you over to Ethereum, which has done pretty much exactly the same, but sort of slightly ahead of the game. So this here is our symmetrical triangle, and as you see, we broke out, we came back down and we retested before moving up and breaking through the top end of this triangle. Now, I expect tomorrow that Ethereum is going to break further to the upside once you get a bit more volume in the market, once the market's open again. And, Ethereum, in my opinion, is looking extremely bullish as it continues to hold above this level, above sort of $2,000 really. And then, I continue to see that, Ethereum will head towards the $2,650 level. Okay, so what will happen to ADA? I believe that we're going to probably break out and we'll come and we will find resistance around this 1.46 level. So in terms of a breakout target, we take from the top of the pattern to the bottom of the pattern, and then we bring it up to our breakout position, which would be around here. And that would take us all the way up to around 1.84. Now, as I mentioned, I believe that we can probably see a bit of consolidation here, but if we had to break out here and again confirm this as a breakout before moving to the upside, then our breakout would actually become even higher, because instead of taking from this breakout point, we would then be taking again, it's the same height because it's from the high to the low, and then we would come all the way up here, and that would then take us over the $2 level into 2.09. Okay, so obviously that's going to take a bit of time to play out. This is on the 4 hour. So we won't immediately see it. We'll see the breakout initially take us from this breakout level, which would be in terms of a percentage rise of around, or just under, where are we? 53% initially. But in terms of where I believe it's going to go sort of slightly further down the line, then, we're going to come up to this level here, which from its current position would be a break of just over 75%, just over 75%. Okay, so very decent potential returns there. Obviously, many people get very upset when you say, it could go one way or the other. At the moment, I believe it's going to go in a bullish direction. However, until we break out and we get this confirmation, okay, so that's what we're waiting for, this confirmation before you go in. And this is when personally I take my buys once we break out, and then we come back down and retest. And the reason I wait for it to retest is, as you saw here, we had a breakout, but then we jump back down inside. So if you took a trade here and you went long, you would have then lost all of this here. So Cardano, obviously, this is a bit of a slightly older news, but Cardano unveils smart contract timeline. Obviously, one smart contract get introduced to Cardano, potentially going to be a very big project. It's probably what's holding it back at the moment because of their lack of ability to do the smart contract area. However, you know, obviously Cardano, I'm still very bullish on Cardano. Everyone, you know, it's a great project. It's the reason it's in the top 10. It's sort of battling for positions with Polkadot at the moment. Polkadot's just sort of knocked it out of position for a couple of days or so. However, I believe Cardano is going to come back pretty strongly. Now, vechain, which is a fantastic project, I've done a video on it before, and I know a lot of people are very passionate about vechain as a project because it's got so many great things about it going on. And we've got a slightly different pattern playing out here, which I'll just show you a diagram of now. So as we see, we got the flat top where we see multiple hits as it tries to break through, but obviously the more times it hits on this diagram, it's hit quite a lot of times. It doesn't always tend to hit that many times. The more times it hits, the more pressure or the more buying pressure it's demonstrating, the more likely it is to break to the upside. On the flip side of that, the more times it sort of tests the lower level, you know, then we might potentially see a drop to the downside. However, what you see in terms of the pattern is the buying pressure rising as the price rises. Okay, so this is obviously a very bullish pattern, and what I again expect is a breakout before a retest. Okay, so jumping back to the chart, then you can see we've got our higher band here, and we've hit 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 times. You know, so actually quite looking very bullish in my opinion. Obviously, we've been rejected quite recently, so we may sort of take a little trickle down to the downside. So we may sort of see a little bit of a trickle down to the downside. However, you know, ultimately we're running out of time. There's not that much time left. This is on the 4-hour chart. So I expect in the next sort of 24 hours or so it to be forced to make a decision. And as I mentioned, you know, the general trend is upwards. Fantastic project. You know, I believe the cryptocurrency market at the moment is looking very healthy, particularly in the last over the last sort of 5 days or so. It's been looking particularly strong. And we've seen, again, buying pressure coming in at higher levels. We're not overbought on the RSI. It's looking at very healthy. So what I expect is it to have to come up and test this 0.96 level, which it has done multiple times and been rejected. However, once it gets up to this level and it can break and break out, then, you know, this is obviously coming for a retest before pushing to the upside. And in terms of a target for that, we would come all the way down, measure the height of the triangle here, and that would then take us up to 0.1186, which is a significant rise of around 23% in the shorter term. In terms of like trading this, when would I look to take a trade? You know, as we see here, guys, the reason we wait for the confirmation is because as it comes out, it doesn't mean guaranteed that it's going to shoot all the way up. Sometimes it does, you know, but in it that tends to be sort of slightly rarer, and actually it's much healthier if it can come down and flip these lines from resistance into support. Now, so what we would like to see is it come up above this line, put in perhaps it would drop to the downside, maybe we'd even wick down back into this box, but then we'd be looking for kind of a large amount of volume and a bullish engulfing candle to take us out the other side. In terms of what a bullish engulfing candle would look like, then here's a perfect example here where we've got the kind of, it's come back down and it's been rejected, and then, you know, we've got the big green candle here, okay, showing that there's significant buying pressure that's going to take us away from that area. And then, you know, following this point, we went all the way from 0.0597 all the way up to, you know, pretty much 50% gain from this engulfing candle. So, you know, in the markets, you know, when we're not sure, always, you know, it's always better to be on the sidelines and not lose money, okay? Don't get FOMO and jump into things too soon. You know, if I was to jump into a trade now, then yeah, there's always the potential that I might get rejected this level and it to be bounced back down. However, if we can notice these patterns coming earlier rather than sort of, you know, people telling us, oh, it's already broken out, then, you know, great. But that's too late for us. So we can identify when patterns are looking like they might unfold and then wait for the confirmation, okay? So, you know, I know people get very upset, could go up, could go down, but it's always true, guys, until you get that confirmation, okay? So I'm letting you know ahead of time exactly when I will be buying is when it breaks out above this point, comes back down and confirms, which might take, you know, the next sort of day, 24 hours, maybe a little bit longer, who knows. But yeah, once we get that confirmation and that bullish candle confirmation, then that's going to look very bullish in my opinion. Guys, if you're new to the channel, then please hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in vechain, Cardano, as well as Ethereum and other altcoins. Also, please hit that like button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm deliver this content to more people. And as I mentioned earlier, the more people that know about this content, the more people that are interested in these projects, healthier it is for ADA and VEC. Guys, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow with another video. Thank you. Bye-bye.